So they thought they had the perfect shot. It was March 22nd, 2025. Somewhere above the Red Sea, the sky was clear, visibility was near perfect, and a U.S. Air Force F-16 Fighting Falcon cruised on routine patrol. Standard altitude, nothing out of the ordinary. Then, ping. A warning light on the heads-up display flashes red. Radar lock. Another blip, then another. Missile launch! Brake! 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 The pilot slams his stick. Instincts kick in. The F-16 rolls hard right, flares popping, countermeasures deployed. A heat signature slices through the air. An infrared-guided Sayyad missile just fired from a Houthi-controlled territory in Yemen. Fast, silent, and meant to kill. The jet dives, engines screaming. Below, the radar-jamming Growler team lights up the airwaves. Above, an E-2D Hawkeye spins into Overwatch. From the deck of the USS Eisenhower, operators are watching this unfold in real time. The missile adjusts course in midair. It's tracking the engine's heat plume. 30 seconds to impact. The pilot pulls a tight 9G turn, every inch of aircraft groaning under the strain. Fox 3 defensive, he shouts over comms. A final flare blooms from behind the jet. Brilliant, hot, confusing the missile's seeker. Boom! The missile detonated in midair. Too far to matter, the jet lives. But now the question isn't how the Houthis got a missile this close, it's what happens when you fire one and miss. Because this wasn't just a dogfight, this was bait. The missile didn't just come out of nowhere. For weeks the Red Sea had been heating up, figuratively and literally. Commercial tankers rerouted, US destroyers crisscrossing the waves, and the Houthi forces getting bold. Real bold. This wasn't the first time they tried something like this either. Just a few days earlier, a US MQ-9 Reaper drone was shot down off the coast of Yemen. It didn't even get a chance to react. The Houthis claimed it on Telegram within minutes, posting shaky footage of flaming wreckage tumbling into the sea like a trophy. That move? That didn't go unanswered either, but it emboldened them. And that's when they made the next mistake, thinking a drone and a fighter jet were the same kind of prey. The US had already issued warnings. Carrier strike groups had shifted formation. Aegis destroyers were repositioned. But the Houthis, backed by Iranian tech and training, believed that they could keep escalating without real consequence. So when an American F-16 flew into their radar net, they fired. Only this time, the jet fired back. You see, that F-16 wasn't just randomly patrolling. It was part of a broader ISR net, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, designed to sniff out missile activity along the Yemeni coast. And what that pilot didn't know at that moment was that he was the final thread in a very dangerous game of bait and trap. Because in recent weeks, the Pentagon had authorized a shift in posture. No more waiting. If a radar spiked on the wrong aircraft, it was now considered hostile. If a launch occurred, retaliation would be automatic. The rules of engagement had changed. Quietly, formally. And in this case, the Houthi launcher had made the ultimate mistake. It lit up long enough to be seen, fired once, and stayed in place just a few minutes too long. That would be its last mistake. Because back aboard the USS Eisenhower, the pilot's call wasn't just received, it was recorded, analyzed, and turned into targeting data. Live feed, thermal signature, missile trajectory, GPS lock. The retaliation clock had already started ticking. At 28,000 feet, the F-16 was still burning west, hugging the edge of Yemeni airspace. The pilot had barely recovered from the evasive maneuver when his RWR, or radar warning receiver, lit up again. New contact, different angle. The first missile had missed, but there was more. This time it wasn't just one signal, it was a burst. Multiple radar locks, staggered and fast. The pilot's AN/ALR-56M system screamed in his headset. Threat, SA-6, lock. An SA-6? Classic Cold War era Soviet SAM. But the Houthis had been seen using Iranian copies of the same tech. Sayad-class systems, upgraded with better seekers and mobile launchers. Slow to set up, even slower to hide. But when active, they were deadly. And they were locked on. The pilot's left hand gripped the throttle, afterburners engaged. His right hand toggled the countermeasure system, prepping for another flare dump. Behind him, the exhaust glowed white-hot against the cool desert night. A perfect infrared target for any heat-seeking warhead. Viper 3 defensive, multiple locks, repeat, multiple launch points, request support. Overhead, a Growler from VAQ-140, the Patriots, was already jamming. Bursts of electromagnetic disruption poured into the air like invisible smoke, scrambling Houthi radar systems. It gave that F-16 a sliver of time. He dipped the nose and pushed it into a hard dive. The G's pinned him to a seat. Blood drained, vision tunneled, but he held the vector. High speed, low drag evasive. Flares burst in waves, like fireworks behind a ghost. The pilot banked again, then yanked the jet into a barrel roll at 700 knots, just in time. One of the incoming Sayads missed by maybe 200 feet, close enough to rattle the canopy. But that was it. That was their chance. Because what the Houthis didn't know was that they were being watched the entire time, from way high above at nearly 60,000 feet. A Navy MQ-4C Triton drone had been circling in wide ISR loops. It wasn't armed, but it didn't need to be. Its job was eyes. And its eyes saw everything. Thermal spikes on the ground, electronic pulses, precise coordinates, all streamed back in real time to CENTCOM and, more importantly, to the Combat Information Center aboard the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower. The engagement had lasted less than 2 minutes, but the fallout would take hours to clean up. When the pilot returned to a holding pattern above the Red Sea, 2 more aircraft joined the airspace. First, a second F-16 from the 421st Fighter Squadron pulled up on its wing, scanning for fresh threats. Then came the call from command. Engagement confirmed, target data locked, hold position, birds en route. Translation: strike package inbound. But even before the jets launched, the Navy wasn't wasting time.